Hi, fellow traders. I hope everybody had a great day today. We started this last quarter off right. You know, it's the fourth quarter. So, the question you got to ask yourself is, what are you going to do? Are you going to step up to the plate? Or are you just going to let this fourth quarter fade off into the sunset and you go back to doing what you were doing? Completely up to you. If you guys missed my pep talk yesterday, go back and check out that video. The last Rolling with Air video. I talk about finishing the fourth quarter strong. And that's what it's all about. So I'm not going to go back through that. But if you want to hear what our focus is, go back and check out that video. Now, this morning didn't start out all that great. If you were in SureTrader, so with our small account, we didn't have our buying power squared away. And I wasn't going to trade. They sent an email saying that, the buying power was not right. If you trade using the wrong buying power, you could get liquidated, plus whatever money you made you would lose, and all that crap. So I just didn't trade. I didn't even try to trade with the buying power they said I had, which was less than what it was supposed to be. But it's just one of those things. It happens every now and then. Every time they do an update or they run a DOS update, something doesn't work with like iBoss or whoever is keeping up with our buying power and our equity and all of that stuff. So it just seems like they quit talking to each other. One gets mad at the other and they just sit there with their arms folded looking at each other. But eventually they got it worked out, so we should be good to go for tomorrow. But we did get into a couple of swing trades. And these are right off our swing trade watch list. And there were actually 4 stocks that we had on our watch list that were setting up for, the oversold entry. And all 4 triggered. Now, the market pissed me off today because it started out so good and then it just sold off into the close. If you go back, and I was so mad at it, I didn't even put the chart, here. I didn't even print it and put it on the slide. I didn't even want to see it. But it started out real nice, and then we just sold off all day. We didn't go red on the day, but that weak action, hurts my swing trades. And it kind of kept this one from, realizing its potential. It started out real well, but then it just kind of sold off with the market the rest of the day. But we got in it right off of our watch list. And SPGI was the other one that I chose. This was a little bit higher dollar one, but I'm looking for it to make us, a pretty strong move. Now, this one was strong all day. So this one, could potentially be the winner. Depending on what the market looks like in the morning, if I don't like what I see, I'm going to take some profit off of this. And I may kill the other trade. So just depends on what the market looks like. My swing trades, my strategies depend on the market, doing what it needs to do in order to support these trades. And if it doesn't, I don't want to be in them. So we in those 2. One is kind of flat and one is doing really well. So looking forward to that one working out the rest of the week. Now, here's a stock that I probably would have looked at day trade. This is the one we were looking at the open. It popped up on the scan late, so I didn't get to put it on my watch list because I didn't have a watch list. There wasn't anything worth me putting on my watch this morning. But this one popped up probably around 9:15 and did finally got enough volume And, it's the chart that I had up that I was streaming that we were looking at, but I couldn't trade it, not buying power. And this was a good rejection here. But more importantly, this was the stock that I was looking at for earnings. And everything, when you guys asked me this morning in chat, my bias was to the long side. Based on everything that I looked up, all the information I got, I was expecting another strong earnings. But I never let that bias influence what I do later on in the day. It's how the stock trades. How it moves, what it does during the day is going to tell me which direction I need to be in. So we had this big run up at the open. We tried to push, we couldn't. So we pulled back. And each time we put in, like here we put in a high, I marked it. Here we put in this high on a bounce, I marked it. Here we could not get back above this resistance. It was just slapping it down, slapping it down, slapping it down. And finally, it sold off. It ran through the 200, but it didn't go red on the day. So as long as they held it from going red on the day, I was still saying, okay, this thing is going to sell off. We've been making lower lows all day. This thing is just not grinding. Then all of a sudden, we got this pop. This is what stopped me in my tracks. I would have taken this trade had it not been for this. I was, rushing to come back to get home so I could get in this stock. And we're sitting in the drive-thru line at Chick-fil-A, and I'm watching this thing, and it just goes straight up through this resistance that was put in through here, straight up through VWAP, and I'm like, nah, there's something not right about this. I don't want to get mixed up in this trade. But I still think, based on what it's doing, because this didn't make a higher high relative to this, you can see how it stair-stepped down. I wasn't going to take it. I was determined not to. And, when you guys asked me, after the close, what were my thoughts on this? I told you the chart told me, or tells me that we're going to sell off. But I can't take it because I just don't know. I don't have that conviction. If I don't have that conviction and I don't feel I have an edge, and if I put this trade on and it's a 50-50 guess, that is not what I need to be doing. Now, even though this trade did work out, and, if you were in chat after the close and you hung around, you got to, experience me going through this trade, step by step. And hopefully you got a real good understanding of, what I'm looking for these earnings and how I manage it. Now, we're going to go over this in class on Thursday, but, you guys that were still here, got to see this thing happen live. So, very, very predictable based on how the market set it up. Now, there's going to come a time, and I know this because it happens every time I get a strategy, I start using it. I think other people figure it out. Once these guys figure out that too many of us are on their backs, following the big money, they're going to flip it up. They're going to start feeling their backs get heavy, and they're not making as much money because everybody's following them and they're on their side. Then this is going to have to change, and we're going to have to adapt. But as you guys have seen for the last couple months that I've shared a trade or two like this, it happens. It's doing it. It's repeatable. And as long as you follow the rules, you stick to the rules, don't take unnecessary risk, you can do well in this. And I did have one of the students. I've been working with this guy for a couple of weeks. Oh, this is BBBY from last week. Exactly what we did. You know, once we got below all of this and we tried to push up, it was just showing weakness. It was time to get in. Now, this one I got in a little bit earlier than I normally do. I forgot what was going on that I didn't want to miss my entry. So, you know, I got in. This one worked really perfect. Just like the trade today, right at the close, we got to push up. I'm going to look for that. It's going to shake the week out. You know, people that didn't have good conviction got shaken out on this before the big move happened. So it's kind of what happened here. And, you know, this turned out to be a really good trade. But I've got a student that I've been working with on these trades. And you can see this was their trade on this. They got in over here. And once this pushed up, it made that big pop and it started to sell back off. They added to it. Okay, they got in small in case this thing pushed up. And this is what we talked about. You know, I did a mentor session with him at lunch, and this is what we were talking about on the stock. It's like, you know, it had pushed up here and kind of sold off, and, you know, it wasn't trying to push back up. And we talked about, okay, take a small position. If it, you know, pushes up and makes a higher high, take it off. If it pushes up and it doesn't make a higher high, add to it, get in your full size, and then, you know, set your first target. Well, he didn't do a good job setting his first target. Ended up taking it all off up here at 40. When the first target clearly should have been his 38.66 level. Or I think I might have had 60. It was close. You know, a couple cents ain't gonna matter. But this is where the first target should have been. This should have been the final target. It hit both of these. You know, we sat right here and watched it in chat. And we talked about when was the best time to get in for this secondary move down. He doesn't have the moving averages on here, but there was a moving average right in through here. That, and also he's missing the 50. He's missing the 50-day moving average that was right in through here. And it could not push back through it. Once we sold through it, it couldn't push back through this. You can see right here. This is what he's missing. And when it came up and it couldn't push again, this is where I told you, this is where the secondary entry would be. So if you miss this, you've got a secondary entry from here down to here. And then the conference call kicked in somewhere around in here. But, you know, these trades are, you know, straightforward. You just have to know exactly what you're looking for and not take unnecessary risk. You still have to manage your risk. These are still somewhat dangerous trades. You don't know what the market's going to do. You don't know what these big money guys are going to do. So you know, we predict it based on, you know, what we feel is giving us our edge. But there's always that chance, and there's always that time where things are going to change and we're going to start to lose it. So you got to be careful with that. But, you know, pretty pleased with how he traded. And he sent it to me so I can critique it, and, you know, I'm going to direct him to this video so he can, you know, hear what I had to say. But First target should have been here. Clear level on the daily chart. My target, like I said, would have been here or right here. This would have been another target. If I had enough, I'd have put this as my final target. But I would have thought, and I actually thought we were going to be bouncing off of the 50 that was right here. I mean, it tried. It kind of hung around it, but it couldn't push it. And we did some more selling. But this isn't bad. Okay, it's not bad. You got over half the move. So that's still not a bad deal. All you got to do is just take your time and look at the chart. You know, don't sell yourself short. Don't sell yourself short. And you know, I told you, if it starts to bounce and starts to make a big push up, go ahead and take it all off and wait for the rejection or the move down if it happens. You know, but other than that, let the stock do its work. You know you're going to get some profit taking at this level. This is where most people are sitting. You see, that's what happened. We opened, had a little bit more profit taken, and then we just sold off. You know, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful trade. Beautiful price action. Tradable price action at that. Nice volume. So, had everything we look for. All right, guys. That's going to do it for me today. We'll get back at this thing tomorrow. Remember, all you guys that want to join us Wednesday morning, I'm going to do a live stream again, just like I did last week. And if you want to come join us, you know, get with me. I told you I got a special deal for you. Just shoot me an email and we'll make it happen. So you guys take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I'll see you back at this first thing in the morning.